If Kamala wins, only death and destruction await because she is the candidate of endless wars. I am the candidate of peace. I am peace. People don't believe that.
I certainly haven't seen it yet. I mean, making thoughtful comments about how this is a war that we chose to get involved in when one of our strongest allies pushed us in that direction, I don't think is anything but a factual assessment of what's going on here. And if J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard weren't in the administration, they'd be on that same side. They'd be saying, focus at home. America first is about what's going on here. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard basically left the Democratic Party because of this, saying that Hillary Clinton was going to get us into these useless wars. We heard that in 2024 in the election, too, that Donald Trump is the peace president and Kamala Harris is the one who's going to take us down these routes. She even called it properly. She talked about, you know, what he was going to do to the economy and that he was going to take us into war with Iran. If you go back to 2012, Trump is even tweeting about how Obama's poll numbers are so bad he's going to launch a strike on Libya or Iran. And Stephen Miller also tweeting before the election that because Liz Cheney was Kamala's top advisor, which I don't think is true anyway, Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace. And I know he has the FIFA Peace Prize, and that is a big deal. But I think that that committee would not be too happy with what has happened in the last few days.
Jesse, the fact that Democrats were not making any of these arguments at the beginning of the Ukraine conflict makes me think that maybe it's all political on their part.
The American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks? I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents, about the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know. We have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper.
Can you explain to the American people why the United States would need to strike Iran to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon if the United States obliterated their enrichment program last summer?
Well, I'm not going to make any news on Iran today, Caitlin. I'll let the president make those announcements. As you know, he is sending two of his best negotiators to Geneva tomorrow in order to continue to try to strike the best deal possible for the American people. But the principle is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild a nuclear weapon, that causes problems for us. And in fact, we've seen evidence that they have tried to do exactly that. So the president sending those negotiators to try to address that problem, as the president has said repeatedly, he wants to address that problem diplomatically. But of course, the president has other options as well.
It's pretty notable the president did not gaggle with reporters on Air Force One. Typically, on Sundays when he's heading back from his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, he will come back on the plane and speak with reporters, take their questions, especially after such a notable moment as the major foreign policy decision that he made over the weekend. For example, you'll remember after the capture of Maduro in Venezuela, we heard from the president, the Secretary of State, and other top officials on their reasoning, on their rationale, and what is going to happen next.
This has always baffled me. You think about all of the things that Democrats stand for: LGBTQ rights, women's rights, freedom of oppression for Muslims, among lots of other things, are all things that are horrific in Iran. Yet when President Trump talks about regime change in Iran and freeing the Iranian people, Democrats seem to be against it. Why is that?
Well, no, Leland, I think you're framing that wrong. I mean, as much as anybody who calls himself a humanitarian, I want to see all human beings be able to live a free and vibrant life. Now, we know that's complicated with human nature, but I would say that this is not about defending the Iranian government. This is really a class issue more than anything else. It's not even partisan. It really is those of us who understand how war harms communities and kills people versus those who are willing to send working class people into war. Now, you're absolutely right about the humanitarian crisis in Iran, no doubt about it. We should continue to have conversations with Iran about that, but we are not a moral authority on any of that. There are periods of time in this country where women did not have, the equal rights. We still haven't passed the Equal Rights Amendment. Poverty is high. We don't have universal
Nina, come on. Nina, you cannot possibly be trying to create a moral equivalency between what happens in Iran to people and how women are treated in Iran like farm animals to the fact that the U.S. doesn't have the ERA. Come on.
Leland, do you think that the United States of America has a moral authority, or is it that we can have conversations with countries like Iran to say there's a better way to do things? I just don't think we can war our way to peace.
It's absolutely true that all the Republicans who claim to be America first were nothing more than stooges for Donald Trump and complete partisans for the Republican Party. And while this is nothing new, it's just evident to see that all the Republican Party is a cult of personality under Donald Trump. When Barack Obama was president, Donald Trump made these videos talking about how I think Obama's gonna start a war with Iran because his approval ratings in the toilet. And it's really sad, but I think that that's what's gonna happen. And now look at him, because, Mossad and Israel and, the Epstein war, they have all this footage of him with these little girls, apparently, as if we don't already know all of these things about him. So now we have potentially started World War III just because Donald Trump's trying to hide info that we all already know. And not only that, Pete Hegseth and all these other idiots who are at the helm of the administration clearly have absolutely no idea what they're doing. In response, Iran is taking out critical world infrastructure, and at the end of the day, all of this is going to be blamed on the United States and Israel, because it's the fault of the United States and Israel. Donald Trump, who ran on being a peace president, who even up until now talks about how he ended 8 wars, but really he's the first president in American history to bomb 8 countries in 1 year. Oh, and by the way, last night we did a land strike. We carried out land operations in Ecuador, and the excuses that we're going after the cartels, but really we're just trying to take over control of the Western Hemisphere. Donald Trump has threatened Cuba. Lindsey Graham says that Cuba's next. He's threatened Mexico. He's threatened Greenland. He's threatened Canada. He's threatened Nigeria. Pretty much any and everybody that he can think of, all the countries that he remembers the name of, he's threatened to bomb them. And so at this point, I think that we all should expect and take seriously that he's going to carry out these threats. With his back continuously being pushed against the wall, everything that he's been doing is illegal, and these crimes are just going to keep piling and piling and piling up. But all of these Republicans who claim to be America first have permanently discredited themselves by backing Donald Trump endlessly, no matter what he does.